Good evening again, CruzCrew. Good to have everybody here tonight, and it's especially wonderful to have a special guest with us. Most of you already know, if you've been anywhere on this planet, let me get that out of the way. If you've been anywhere on this planet, you already know Glenn Terrell. And Glenn called me the other day. I think it was a Friday, wasn't it, Glenn?
Yes, it was last Friday.
Yeah, and we had a pretty nice little conversation. Tell the folks what we talked about.
Well, Mark had called me, and I said, Mark, what can I do for you? And he said, I don't want anything, Glenn. I just want to call and check in with you. And like he does ordinarily, from time to time anyway. And we chatted a while, and then I told him, I said, Mark, I've got a couple of suggestions. He said, well, let me hear them. But I said, I'm subscribing to this Twitter account management service. And there, when I'm following or unfollowing people, when you click on a little box by somebody's name, instead of you having to move your mouse down, the program,
the next box slides up,
right up where you were. So you don't ever have to move your mouse. You can just keep on clicking. And he said, well, you might be asking a whole lot there, but I'd be willing to look into it. And I said, oh, by the way, while you're at it, think about this one too. In that scheduling the retweets, my memory's not so good as it used to be. And I can't remember, after I've already scheduled 5 of them, who can I pick now and be sure that I didn't pick them once before.
Well, Glenn, I didn't tell you then, but I'll tell you now. There's a couple of things about getting old that you should know. One,
you're going to school me now on getting old?
The first thing that you need to know, well, maybe the people out there need to know, is as you get older, your memory begins to fail you. And the second thing you need to know is, oh, crap, I forget. But anyway.
Oh, Lord, Mark, I got 15 to 20 years on you.
Well, that second request was quite a big one. I knew the first one, even though I'd never done it. I'd seen it done before, so I knew it would just be a matter of doing some research. But we've had so many people ask on the tweet scheduler. Now, for those of you not familiar with it, there's a little icon, a calendar icon, below the featured tweets that you see there. It's got a little red top and a little clock in the bottom right corner. You can actually go there and check off each of our featured tweets and set up a schedule and let the program, the Twitter application, send those tweets out for you. And everybody said, well, don't you have a select all? And I thought, well, here's the problem. Twitter does not allow select all. Twitter requires that there is a volitional act that is taken by the user for the application to act on their behalf. For each action we take on your behalf, there has to be an action on your part. So, like you, I had to go through, and you got to put that mouse exactly on the square, and then you got to do a few, then you got to scroll down, and if you get in a hurry, you'll scroll too far, so you got to scroll back up, and it was a pain, I'll give you that. But when you brought that up, I thought, well, maybe there's a way. So carry on. I interrupted you.
Well, then, this was Friday afternoon, just before our Friday night Twitter rally. And he said, I'll look into it. You don't really know what you're asking for there. So the next day, about noon, maybe it was a little after that, my time, and he had already called me 3 times, but I hadn't gotten up. I didn't go to sleep till 4 a.m. here.
Is your conscience bothering you again?
What conscience? You don't have one of those once you get old enough. But anyway, he said, Glenn, go to this tweet scheduling program. Go to that page. And I went there, and he said, now hit the space bar. And I hit the space bar, and the first line turned yellow. And then he said, hit it again. And I did. And the second line turned yellow.
And I didn't have to say anything after that. All I heard was tap, 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 tap.
tap, tap, tap. And I swear, there's 50 featured tweets there, and then there's 50 more encore tweets. And I had selected all 100 of those boogers in less than a minute.
Yeah.
It is so, so sweet. And so what I want to do is to encourage those of you who might not have been using that tweet scheduler, or you had used it in the times past and it was taking you so long to do that, you just figured it wasn't worth the trouble to try it again. And I swear, once you go to that page, you can, as fast as you can punch the space key, as long as it takes you to do that 100 times in a row, that's how long it takes you to select all of them. And
we are within the Twitter terms of service because you are taking 100 volitional acts. You're pressing the space bar. We've just replaced the mouse click with the space bar. It's that simple.
And folks, you can do that you can have them scheduled and be back doing what you were doing before.
Now, a lot of people, Glenn, don't know. If you have one account, it was a pain before, but how many accounts do you have?
Well, I've got 6, but it's not. At the time I obtained 6 accounts, it made good sense to do that. It's not such good sense anymore, but I think everybody who is serious about this probably ought to entertain at least 2. But anyway, I have 6. So it was taking me an hour and a half or 2 hours to schedule the tweets and the retweets. But now, this morning...
And at your age, we don't need anything to take longer.
Oh, Mark.
There's a fellow that he was at our church, and we all used to have a lot of fun. And his name was Nason Revel, and he subsequently died. But he had bought some property, and he dug a pond, and sure enough, there had been a drought. It just hadn't rained, and here's this big hole in the ground with no water in it. Well, he was a man of some means. He was quite well to do, so he put down a well, and he pumped water into that pond. And we said, Nason, you must be rich, that you can afford to do that. He says, no, I'm just old. I ain't got time to wait around.
Well, I can identify with that. When you get on the other side of 70, you don't know exactly how far out the finish line is, but it's a whole lot shorter than it used to be. So that time remaining on the clock becomes important to you, especially when your country is going to hell in a handbasket and your grandsons are being raised up. And anyway, I digress. But I want to call everybody's attention to that. And I would suggest that before you quit tonight, before you shut off your computer, go to their rescheduling, the tweet scheduling page, and select all of those and look at your clock on your computer. And if it's 10 o'clock, well, let's say it'd be 11 o'clock maybe where you are, schedule those tweets to begin at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, and at the bottom of it, it's got a thing there. When do you want the first one to go out? So 6 hours would be 360 minutes from now. So just put a 360 in that box.
Or if you wanted to start an hour early, 420.
420, just do the math.
And then if you set the time between tweets to be 6 minutes, it takes, I believe, 10 hours for them to drip out continuously.
And by the way, they're randomized before they're scheduled, so they don't go out in the order that you click them. It just scrambles them.
So if you got 2 accounts, but the tweets are scheduled or scrambled for each of those 2 accounts, it's so that even if you have 2 accounts following the same person a few people like that, they wouldn't be getting the same tweet.
Right. It obfuscates the robotic nature of it.
And by the way, y'all, a little story. Since I'm tweeting out now a gold Ted Cruz tweet every 6 minutes, and with mine it's from 6 different accounts. So I'm tweeting out one tweet every minute.
A tweet a minute?
Ted Cruz. And that's really good. But I'm telling you, I'm having a lot of trouble with the Trump zealots. They're writing me nasty replies, but of course I don't retweet them because I don't want to give them access to my timeline. But they really get under my skin.
It's hard to resist, isn't it? It is.
They say things that are not true, and they're demeaning,
toxic,
and you just got under my skin something serious. So I tried to devise a tweet, and I'm going to put it in the chat room now, in the chat.
Well, while you're doing that, let me give you some consolation. What's neat is you spent maybe 5 minutes creating that battery of 600 tweets. They, on the other hand, are spending all day and all night replying to them. So you're keeping those guys pinned down. You are really servicing all of your tweets. So that's a great strategy. So take heart in that.
But Mark said a while ago, if you're gonna promote a tweet, promote somebody else's. Now, I wrote this thing, but I put it in here I'm giving it to you. You might want to use this too. And it says, better to remain quiet and be thought a fool than to tweet something like this stupid and remove all doubt. Now, one of my Trump friends, or would be friends, might be friends, but never be friends, he got that tweet yesterday. Mm-hmm. And he spent 3 times. He sent me 3 tweets telling me that's so typical of you, Cruz nuts. And I've laughed about it all day long. So
well, you're keeping them busy. Quickly, let's move on because we've been here quite a while. You had a suggestion on the retweet scheduler. So let's talk about that for a moment.
Well, why don't you talk about it? You're a little bit faster with words than I am.
Well, that would be self-aggrandizement. I'm paying you to say good things about me.
Oh, okay. Double my salary.
Hold that check, though, okay? Just hold that check.
The icon just to the right of the one he called your attention to, it looks like a dollar bill with a down pointed arrow and an up pointed arrow. But anyway, if you click on that, it takes you to a page where you can schedule retweets.
Now, retweets are a real pain in the butt.
And by the way, when we talked about noon, he said, Glenn, that assignment was really tough. I'm going to see what I can do about this other one. And he went to work on it, and I swear before 5 o'clock, he called me back, and he had it working too. But this thing is really sweet. When you click a radio button in one column, that's a tweet that you're going to retweet. And then it gives you a row, another column right beside it of people who have already tweeted that. And so you first select one on the left column, and then you have to pick a name from the right column to retweet it. And when you click on the one on the right, it shades its color.
It's a nice, pretty blue. I spent a lot of time finding that blue.
But the benefit of that is that name is blued out or colored, shaded out in all of the 49 tweets.
Yeah, when you go down the list on the left and click, that person that you've already retweeted will be in blue. Now, by the way, you can still retweet them again. It's just letting you know,
Yeah.
hey, you've already retweeted this person previously. So what I do is I just start at the top, ching, find a white one, click it. Go to the next one, find one at the top that's white, and click it until that whole darn thing. And by the way, you got to scroll down all the way to the bottom, because I won't go into the algorithm and how complicated it is, but go to the bottom and make sure there aren't some down there that you haven't tweeted or retweeted, and then you can. There's all kind of different ways to do it, but this has helped me tremendously because I manage 4 accounts, and like you, I get, the first time through is like, have I retweeted them or not? And I want to retweet everybody. I want to spread that around. Now, once I've got everything blue in there, I've retweeted everybody one time. What I do, Glenn, and everybody has their own little way, is I start looking for people that have a low retweet count. They have 0, 1, or 2. If somebody's already got, 17 retweets, I'd rather find somebody and help them out to kind of even the score up all the way across there. So that's the way I do it.
Well, and me too. I don't know how to find that number, but
it's on there. It's on the screen if you look. It'll show how many retweets that tweet has earned.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay. Well, I'll look for that.
Yeah.
But I want to tweet everybody, and especially the people that I recognize as being new to Emily.
Yeah, we need to sucker them in.
You want, well, now Mark wants to sucker them in. I'm just wanting them to feel like they're welcome. There's a slight difference between those feelings, but
I call that candy. We want to give them some candy, okay?
Well, anyway, I don't want to keep you all night, but this morning I scheduled the tweets and the retweets in all 6 of my accounts in less than 1 hour.
Wow.
In less than 1 hour. So
wow.
Be encouraged, y'all. If you haven't used that tweet rescheduling thing and the retweet rescheduling thing or scheduling thing, please take a look at it. You can do that if you only have one account. You can schedule the tweets and the retweets in less than 15 minutes before you go to bed tonight, and schedule them to start going out 6 a.m. your time. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I'll shut up.
Okay. Well, Glenn, I really appreciate your suggestions because all of these suggestions I'd gotten to that point where we need to select all. Well, I'm sorry, I can't. Twitter doesn't allow that, and I know it was a pain. But you came up with you kind of pulled the bunny out of the hat with that idea, and it turned out to be a little bit easier than I thought. The second one was, in fact, very complicated, and we're not really done with it. There's actually a little hidden defect in there that nobody knows about, but I do. So, but overall, I use it a lot, and I told you I'd do that first one because it would benefit me. I mean, if no one else uses it, I'm going to use it. But thanks for the suggestion, Glenn.
All right, let me have one more half a minute.
Okay.
I want to encourage my teammates. Mark is the coach, and he and I understand the relationship between coach and player because I've been both a coach and a player, and so has he. And y'all may not have been a team member, but if you ever played in the band, if you ever played basketball, ever played soccer, you were on a team. And there may be people on your team that you don't even like. But when you're playing together, you want him or her to perform well because the well-being of the team depends on it. Now, the coach has one set of problems, and the team members have a different set of problems that they need to contend with. What I want to tell you, teammates, is we've got a darn good coach. He's doing what a good coach is supposed to do. And I'm trying to do what I think a good team member does, and that is to try to encourage the other teammates. Y'all, let's all give it our best shot. I mean, this Ted Cruz is important. I'm getting chill bumps now. I mean, think about the Supreme Court justices, and there's a vacancy now. My God, we need somebody like Ted Cruz to select that person, and there'll be 3 or 4 more shortly. This election as president is more important than I think any of us really realize. But anyway, let's go, team. Let's go.
Well, Glenn, thank you so much. And no coach is perfect, but I know that the benefit that I've gotten from coaching high school football has benefited me personally. And the reason I coach high school football, when you go to the interviews, they always want to know why you want the job. And I give them, I know it sounds made up, but I just tell them from my heart, is I want to give back some of what I was given, because I had a very good coach. And it's a ministry as far as I'm concerned. And I tell them, I said, look, if you don't want to hire me, I still want to volunteer. Okay? Because
I understand that.
It's just it gives me chills. So, Glenn, you're a good team member. I appreciate all you're doing, and I appreciate those suggestions. And I'm glad that we were able to get them online for you, and everybody else. Everybody else benefits from it too, Glenn.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. We'll talk to you next time. Appreciate you calling in.